In this video, I will show you how you can add VFX to your drone footages in DaVinci Resolve. So for this, I have this raw footage in which I will be adding this line, as you can see, and also this text. So basically, the tracking is the main purpose of this video. And for any drone footage in which you want to add different elements or different graphics, you need to learn the concept of tracking. So this is what I'm going to show you how to do in this video. You can do this for any drone footage that you have, but this is the drone footage that I'm going to be using in this video specifically. So let's get started. So right here, I have this timeline at default settings, 1920 by 1080 and at 24 frames per second. So you can use any settings that you want, and that depends on the footage that you have as well. So this is what I'm doing for this video. And here is the drone footage for this video. Let me drag this in to the timeline and click on it, press Ctrl D. And of course, this depends on the footage that you have, but I'm going to change the clip duration to 5 seconds like this. But of course, that's up to you. Right now, I'm just going with 5 seconds because I just need to show you how to do this. So let's open this in Fusion page, and over here, press on this media N and click on Control Space and search for Planar Tracker. Now with this Planar Tracker selected, go over to 0 frames, and from here, just click on this set. So once you do that, we need to create a shape over here. So this will be a simple line, and this is so that we can know which area we want to track, and make sure this is connected at the end. So you cannot leave this open, you need to connect it. So once you're done with that, once you're done with the shape, you can click on this track to end, and this will start tracking your footage throughout the video. This is the reason why I kept this video at 5 seconds, because I don't want to spend too much time on it. I just want to show you the basics, but of course it depends on the footage that you have. If you have a long footage, this will take more time. So here the tracking is complete, as you can see, and now click on Planar Tracker, and from here click on Create Planar Transform. So this will create a Planar Transform node, as you can see right here. So we don't need the Planar Tracker anymore. Let's hide it, and we're just going to use the Planar Transform from now. Let's drag in a background, and let's change the color to yellow. Now press Control Space and search for Mask Paint. So here, let's select this mask paint and connect this with the background, and the background with the planar transform, and also the planar transform. Let's connect this with the planar tracker, and this will create a merge one. So let's click on mask paint, and over here you will notice that this is selected at multi-stroke, as you can see right here, but we need to just select stroke. So let's click on it, and from here we're just going to create different strokes. And for this, you don't necessarily need to stick to one node. So if you go over to the modifiers right here, you will notice that it says stroke 1. So you can add as many strokes as you want to cover the area depending on the footage that we have. So right now there is a road, as you can see, and there is some area which is shorter than the other one. So for example, the starting is shorter than the curve that you see right here. So for that, we need a different size of the paintbrush. So we can do that by using the different strokes for this. So let's go over to the tools again, and from here you can set the size. Right now I'm just going with the default one, and let me just start drawing. So up till this point, this is the first stroke that we have, as you can see. Now for the second stroke, as you can see, the size of the road is much larger right here, so I can just increase the size, and now I will start to draw this again, and this will create a stroke 2. So right here, you will notice a gap between them. It doesn't look nice, so I'm just going to undo, Control Z, and let me do this again. So here you can see this looks much better now. And let me just reduce the size for this stroke as well. This is going to be the third stroke right here. Just make sure there are no gaps between them. So now let me just quickly do this. So if I go over to the end, I notice that I left a space right here. So this is no problem. If you miss out any space, you can just go over there and add another stroke. This is why using different strokes is helpful, because then you can add any stroke at any point that you want. And also, if you mess up something, you can always change it by going over to the modifiers, changing the stroke, adding a different one, and also you can change the X and Y position for it. So right here, this is the final stroke. So the stroke that I added at the end, it's going to be the stroke 8. But even though it's the stroke 8, it's the starting point of the stroke. And this is from where we're going to start. So you just need to know which stroke is where. That's it. So now let's go over to the stroke controls. And from here, we can create a keyframe at right on. And this is going to be at the 5th keyframe. And then at 0th keyframe, we can just change this to 0. So right here, this is how it looks. So now let's go over to 15 frames. And from here, we're going to go over to this stroke 1. So I unselected this and everything got away, but don't worry about that because this is only going to cover the area that we just added in that stroke. So right here at 15, create a keyframe at right on, and then at 5, let's change this to 0. So right where the stroke comes in for the previous stroke, we're going to start the next stroke right from that position. So now let's go over to the third one, or actually the stroke 2. Let's go right here and let's go over to 30. Do the same thing, go over to stroke controls, create a keyframe at right on, and then at 15, let's change this to 0. So here you can see this is how it looks. Right here, I noticed something that it's not covering the whole area. It's kind of messing up. So we can go and do some adjustments by going over to this X and Y and changing the settings. So let me just do that for this one. And also I'm going to do the same thing for the stroke 2. So let's go over to stroke 2. Okay, stroke 1. So let's go over to stroke 1 and change this a little bit like this. So now this looks much better. And now let's go over to the stroke 3, and right here at 35, I'm going to go over to this stroke 3 and add this right on, and do the same thing for stroke 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. This is the same process from now on. Just where this stroke ends, you will need to start the right on for the next stroke. Now go over to the merge, and from here you can change the apply mode to overlay. So this is how it will look. So now let's go over to the mask paint, and in the modifiers at the final one, I'm going to change this position slightly. So this is the benefit of using these strokes. So you can just adjust them at any point in your editing. And now here you can see this is how it looks. So right here I have to do some more adjustments. So let me just do that real quick. All right, so now let's add in our text and connect this with the merge. And over here at this text, I'm just going to type in and reduce the size and bring this right here. So I'm going to create this in a curve way, you can say. But before I do that, I will change the rotation at X, not at Y, but at Z. So X and Z, you can also try and do something like this if you have a flat text. Now go over to layout and change the type to path. And let's just draw this right here. So this is how you can add curve to your text. And I just curved it in a way that matches with the road that you see. Okay, so right now you can notice that this is moving along with the video, but we can just copy this planar transform node and then paste it and then add it with this text as well. So now you will notice that this will also move in that same position as the road. So now it looks like it's tracking the same way that we did for the mask paint right here. Let's go back to the main timeline, and from here we can just zoom this in. So this is where it's ending, and let me just position it so that this looks good. All right, so here you can see this is how our effect looks for this drone footage. And of course you can add more things to this footage as well. So right here in this one, I added this checkpoint, you can say. So you can add more text, you can add different elements, and the way that you can track them is the same way that I showed you with the planar tracker. So that's the key element in all of this drone VFX editing. So I hope you found this video useful, and I will see you in the next one.